Melaka, dubbed the Historic State, is a state in Malaysia and located in the southern region of the Malay Peninsula, next to the Straits of Malacca. It borders Negeri Sembilan to the north and Johor to the south. The capital is Melaka City, which is 148 kilometers southeast of Malaysia's capital city Kuala Lumpur, 235 kilometers northwest of Johor's largest city Johor Bahru, and 95 kilometers northwest of Johor's second largest city, Batu Pahat. This historical city centre has been listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 7 July 2008. Although it was the location of one of the earliest Malay sultanates, the local monarchy was abolished when the Portuguese conquered it in 1511. The head of state is the Yang di-Pertua Negeri or governor, rather than a sultan. History. Sultanate of Malacca. Before the arrival of the first sultan, Malacca was a fishing village inhabited by local Malays known as Orange Laut. Melaka was founded by Parameswara, also known as Iskandar Shah or Srimajara, the last Raja of Temasek following a Majapahit attack in 1377. He found his way to Malacca around 1400 where he found a good port. It was accessible in all seasons and on the strategically located narrowest point of the Malacca Straits. According to a popular legend, Parameswara was resting under a tree near a river during a hunt, when one of his dogs cornered a mouse deer. In self-defense, the mouse deer pushed the dog into the river. Impressed by the courage of the deer, and taking it as a propitious omen of the weak overcoming the powerful, Parameswara decided then and there to found an empire on that very spot. He named it Melaka, after the tree where he had just taken shelter at, the Malacca tree. Prominent Malaysian artist Syed Saduddin visually depicted the epic tale of the founding of Malacca on canvas. The Beginning, a 4-panel painting measuring 183 by 512 centimeters, is now a permanent collection at Galeri Petronas. In collaboration with allies from the Sea People, the wandering Proto-Malay privateers of the Straits, he established Malacca as an international port by compelling passing ships to call there, and establishing fair and reliable facilities for warehousing and trade. Because of its strategic location, Malacca was an important stopping point for Zheng He's fleet. To enhance relations, Hang Li Po, according to local folklore, a daughter of the Ming Emperor of China, arrived in Malacca, accompanied by 500 attendants, to marry Sultan Mansur Shah, who reigned from 1456 until 1477. Her attendants married locals and settled mostly in Bukit China. In the 9th month of the year, 1481, envoys arrived with the Malacca again sent envoys to China in 1481, to inform the Chinese that, while Malaccan envoys were returning to Malacca from China in 1469, the Vietnamese attacked the Malaccans, killing some of them while castrating the young and enslaving them. The Malaccans reported that Vietnam was in control of Kampa and also sought to conquer Malacca, but the Malaccans did not fight back, because they did not want to fight against another state that was a tributary to China without permission from the Chinese. They requested to confront the Vietnamese delegation to China, which was in China at the time, but the Chinese informed them since the incident was years old, they could do nothing about it. And the emperor sent a letter to the Vietnamese ruler reproaching him for the incident. The Chinese emperor also ordered the Malaccans to raise soldiers and fight back with violent force if the Vietnamese attacked them again. Colonial era. In April 1511, Alfonso de Albuquerque set sail from Goa to Malacca with a force of some 1,200 men and 17 or 18 ships. They conquered the city on 24 August 1511. After seizing the city, Alfonso de Albuquerque spared the Hindu, Chinese and Burmese inhabitants but had the Muslim inhabitants massacred or sold into slavery. It soon became clear that Portuguese control of Malacca did not also mean they controlled Asian trade centered there. Their Malaccan rule was severely hampered by administrative and economic difficulties. Rather than achieving their ambition of dominating Asian trade, the Portuguese had disrupted the organization of the network. The centralized port of exchange of Asian wealth had now gone, as was a Malay state to police the Straits of Malacca that made it safe for commercial traffic. Trade was now scattered over a number of ports among bitter warfare in the straits. The Jesuit missionary Francis Xavier spent several months in Malacca in 1545, 1546, and 1549. The Dutch launched several attacks on the Portuguese colony during the first 4 decades of the 17th century. The first attack took place in 1606 under the command of Dutch Admiral Cornelis Matelief de Jong, who laid siege to the town with the help of his Johor allies. He engaged the Portuguese armada which had been sent from Goa to offer armed relief to the besieged port. In 1641, the Dutch defeated the Portuguese in an effort to capture Melaka, with the help of the Sultan of Johor. The Dutch ruled Malacca from 1641 to 1798, but they were not interested in developing it as a trading centre, placing greater importance to Batavia on Java as their administrative centre. However, they still built their landmark, better known as the Stadhuis or Red Building. Melaka was ceded to the British in the Anglo-Dutch Treaty of 1824 in exchange for Bencoolen on Sumatra. From 1826 to 1946, Malacca was under the rule of the British, first by the British East India Company and then as a Crown colony. It formed part of the Straits settlements, together with Singapore and Penang. Melaka went briefly under the rule of Empire of Japan in 1942 to 1945 during World War II. Post-colonial era. After the dissolution of this crown colony, Malacca and Penang became part of the Malayan Union in 1946, which later became the Federation of Malaya in 1948. The Declaration of Independence was made by the first Prime Minister of Malaya, Tunku Abdul Rahman, at Padang Palawan on 20 February 1956, which eventually led to the independence of Malaya on 31 August 1957. In 1963, Malaysia was formed with the merger of Malaya with Sabah, Sarawak and Singapore, and Malacca became part of it. On 15 April 1989, Melaka was declared a historical city. It was then also listed as UNESCO World Heritage Site since 7 July 2008. Geography. The state of Melaka covers an area of 1,664 square kilometers. It sits upon the southwestern coast of the Malay Peninsula opposite Sumatra, with the state of Negri Sembilan to the north and Johor to the east. Melaka is situated roughly 2/3 of the way down the west coast, 148 kilometers south of Kuala Lumpur and 245 kilometers north of Singapore, and commands a central position on the Straits of Malacca. With the exception of some of its small hills, Malacca is generally a lowland area with average elevation below 50 meters above sea level. The Malacca River roughly runs through the center line of the state from north to south. Kesang River acts as the eastern border of Malacca with Johor. The offshore Besar Island, Upeh Island and Undan Island are part of Malacca, which are accessible by jetty from Malacca mainland. The exclave Cape Rashado is also part of Malacca. Malacca has several beautiful beaches edged with palm trees, which has brought a number of resorts along the coast. Famous beaches are Tanjung Bidara Beach, Klebang Beach, Putarai Beach and Pengkalan Balak Beach. The man-made Malacca Island is connected to the mainland, and it is the first phase of the development of Malacca Gateway offshore development, expected to be completed by 2025. Climate. The climate of Malacca is hot and humid throughout the year, with rainfall occurs mostly between October and March. Temperature ranges generally between 30 to 35 degrees Celsius during daytime and between 27 to 29 degrees Celsius during nighttime. Government. Malacca's state parliament is called the State Legislative Assembly, and the party in power forms the executive committee. The Assembly represents the highest authority in the state and decides on policy matters. The State Executive Council is responsible to the Assembly and comprises members who are appointed every 5 years by the political party in power. It is headed by the Yang di-Pertua Negeri, who is appointed by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong of Malaysia. The current Yang di-Pertua Negeri is Mohd Khalil Yaakob. The state government is headed by the Chief Minister. The Minister is appointed by Yang di-Pertua Negeri from among the State Legislative Assembly members. The Chief Minister presides over a meeting of State Executive Council ministers weekly at the Chief Minister's office. The Chief Minister's department is responsible for the overall administration of the state, as well as its political interest. The current Chief Minister is Idris Harun of United Malays National Organization. The administrative complex is located at Seri Negeri Complex in Air. It houses the Chief Minister's office, State Legislative Assembly and State Secretariat office. For administrative purposes, Melaka is divided into 3 districts under separate jurisdiction: Melaka Central District and Land Office, Alor-Gajah District and Land Office, Jasan District and Land Office. Districts and local authorities. Melaka is divided into 3 districts and 4 local authorities. Towns besides Malacca City. Other major Malacca townships include Alor-Gajah, Asahan, Air, Batang Melaka, Batu Berendam, Bemban, Bukit Cattle, Cheng, Durian Tunggal, Hang Tua Jaya, Jasan, Klebang, Kuala Sungai Baru, Lendu, Lubuk China, Makap Baru, Melaka Pindar, Masjid Tanah, Merlimau, Nanning, Nialis, Pulau Sabang, Ramuan China, Slunder, Serkam, Simpang Ampat, Sungai Rambai, Sungai Udang, Tampin, Tanjung Kling, Teluk Masan Umbai. Economy. Despite being located in a land without any significant natural resources, the economy of Melaka has been dated back more than 500 years ago due to its strategic location as the center for spice trade and its importance, which influenced the colonial countries to engage wars to control it. Melaka started to open up itself to foreign investors since the early 1970s, which has been successful. By 1997, the state has registered a total investment of over 16 billion Malaysian ringgit. In 2014, a total 4.4 billion Malaysian ringgit worth of investment was achieved by the state, in which 1.8 billion Malaysian ringgit came from foreign investors. In 2013, Melaka had a GDP of 22,646 million Malaysian ringgit, with GDP per capita of 34,109 Malaysian ringgit. It had 3.2% GDP growth in 2013. Inflation rate in 2012 was 1.6%. As of 2015, the Malacca state government has an outstanding 861.7 million Malaysian ringgit of loan to the federal government. In 2014, the state government's reserve amounted to 206.61 million Malaysian ringgit. The unemployment rate in 2014 was 0.9% or around 3,500 people. As of 2012, service sector contributes to the largest share of economy in Malacca, accounted for 46.9%, followed by manufacturing, agriculture, construction and mining. In terms of number of workforce, as of 2013, there were 275,000 people working in the industrial sectors, 225,000 people working in the service sectors, 35,000 people working in the entrepreneurship sectors and 12,300 people working in the agricultural sectors. On the 21st of October 2010, an event was held to announce that Melaka had met the benchmark of developed state, as set out by OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and a declaration of Melaka Maju 2010 was made by Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak. Currently there are 23 industrial areas which are centered along the edges of the city proper in suburbs which include Air, Batu Berendam, Cheng, Taman Tashaku Tama and Tanjung Kling. While outside Melaka city, industrial areas include Alor Gajah and Sungai Udang. There are around 500 factories in the state which come from Germany, Japan, Singapore, Taiwan, United States, etc. For small and medium-sized enterprises, a number of estates have been established by the state government. The Malacca International Trade Center in Air Cairo, which was opened on June 2003, is the leading commercial center and the center for meetings, incentives, convention and exhibitions, which plays an important role in the development of trade in Malacca. Sungai Udang houses the Petronas Malacca refinery complex consisting 2 refining trains, established in 1994 and 1999 and owned by Petronas Penapasan SDN, BHD, and Malaysian Refining Company SDN, BHD, respectively. The total capacity of the refinery is 270,000 barrels of oil per day. Culture in Malacca began around 15th century, in which various ethnic customs and traditions blended perfectly. Each group upholds their tradition and it is reflected in the food, religion, customs, festivals, culture, design, application, jewelry and handicrafts. Demographics: Malacca has an estimated population of 860,000 as of 2014, with an average annual population growth of 1%. As of 2013, 25% of the population aged below 15 years old and 7% aged above 60 years old. The ethnic composition of Malacca is Malays, Chinese and Peranakan, Indians and Chitty, and the minority Kristang, Dutch, Eurasian and Temuan community. Malay community in Malacca is generally divided into 2, which are the Temenggung custom and the Pepati custom. The remaining traditional Malay village in Malacca city is the Morten village. The Chinese community consists of Hokkien, Cantonese, Hakka, Tiako and Hainanese group of people. Jonker Walk is the Chinatown area of Malacca. The Peranakan people in Malacca show unique features, such as furniture, porcelain, crockery, style and food. Their culture is showcased at the Baba Nyonya Heritage Museum. Indians in Malacca are the Tamil people, in which many of them used to work at the rubber plantation. However, many of them now work in the jewelry, fabrics, retailers, merchants and moneylender sectors. Many of them reside in Little India. There is also Chitty village for the minority Chitty people, which houses the Chitty Museum. A sizable number of Sikhs residing in Malacca, and Sikhs from Malacca and abroad congregate in the Gurdwara situated in Jalan Temenggung. They celebrate the Guru Nanak's birthday and Vaisakhi New Year annually. A population of Portuguese descent, who speak a Portuguese Creole, are the descendants of colonists from the 16th and 17th centuries. Even to this day, many of the traditions originating with the Portuguese occupation are still practiced, i.e., intrudo, from Portuguese word intrudo, Brani, Santa Cruz. Many of them settle down around the Portuguese settlement area, which has a population of about 1,200 residents. The Portuguese colonists contributed dishes like devil's curry and Portuguese egg tarts to the town's cuisine. The indigenous people, mostly ethnic Temuan, is relatively small. They generally reside in rural settlements, the edge of the woods and along the coast facing Malacca Strait. Melaka houses the Aborigines Museum in Air Cairo. Language: Malacca is a multilinguistic state. Malaysian is the official language of Malacca and is used in the government and public sectors. English is widely used in business and tourism sectors. A local Malay, known as Malaccan Malay, is a unique variety of Malay spoken within the state of Malacca. It has its own distinct pronunciation and vocabulary compared to the rest of Malaysia. Other minority languages such as Chinese and its varieties, Tamil, Kristang and various Malay-based creoles such as Baba Malay and Chitty Malay are also spoken. The Orange ASLI languages spoken within Malacca are mostly speakers of the Temuan language. Sports-related affairs of Malacca is governed by the Malacca State Sports Council under the Malacca State Government. Another governing body about sports in Malacca is the Department of Youth and Sports. Malacca houses several football stadiums, such as Hang Jebat Stadium, Hang Tua Stadium and Tun Fatima Stadium. Built in 1954, Hang Tua Stadium is the oldest stadium in Malacca. Established under the Malacca Stadium Corporation Enactment 2004. The Malacca Stadium Corporation is the entity that manages stadiums in Malacca, which started its operation on 16 September 2004. There is also a motorsport racetrack in Aircaro, the Malacca International Motorsport Circuit. Aircaro also houses the Malacca International Bowling Centre. With 52 lanes, it is the largest bowling centre in Malaysia. There are 4 golf courses in Malacca, namely Aircaro Golf and Country Club, Orna Golf and Country Club, and Tiara Malacca Golf and Country Club in Aircaro, and Afamosa Golf Resort in Simpang Ampat. Golf-related stuffs in Malacca is showcased at the Malacca Golf Gallery. Melaka was the host venue for the 2010 SUKME Games held on 10 to 19 June 2010.